when I was living with my mom and my dad, I actually failed the third grade 3 times.
Yeah.
And then once I reached about 10, I was actually taken away from my family, my mom and my dad. Like,
Okay.
I do know who my dad is somewhat, but I don't really know who he actually was. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And like, that's something that bothers me a little bit here and there, but I kind of just use it as motivation now,
Mhm.
especially like for my music and everything that I'm trying to do. And I definitely tell kids all the time, like, make sure you show your parents how much you appreciate them and everything, because you never know,
Yep.
they may not be there. And my dad, he wasn't the best dad ever, but he was still my
Yeah,
dad,
yeah, of course.
and so like.
Show love, give hope today. Together we're stronger in every way. From the streets to the heart, we're breaking the mold.
Welcome back to Have Faith, Show Love, Give Hope, the podcast where I have faith, I show love to my guests, and together we give hope to whoever's watching. Today I have the privilege to sit down with White Noise. What's up, White Noise?
Me and my boy.
How you doing?
Good, good,
Good.
good.
So I got to tell them the background. So one day I'm just riding around downtown, and I seen you and Ricky just chopping it up. This dude I know from the East Side and
Yeah,
stuff. And then I Ricky had to leave. Tyler picked them up. They rode out,
yeah.
and then me and you just sat there and we chopped it up. And you told me that you're an artist and all this stuff. And I was like, man, I explained to you I had a podcast, and you said, "Let me check it out." We showed each other our
Right,
Instagrams and our YouTubes,
right,
and you're like, "Bro, let's." So then I just set up the interview.
right,
So that's the backstory, and then now I just want to sit down with you and
right.
let me know a little bit about you. Where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about White Noise and where you're from and all that.
Well, one thing I wanted to start off with is
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like your mission. You know what I
Oh,
mean? I
okay.
like your whole brand and everything that you're trying to do. And when I saw your YouTube channel for the first time, like, it really is what drew me in, because, you just were starting from the bottom,
Mhm.
and you're working your way up. And I could see that. And like, to see you get to this point now, like, you should definitely be proud of yourself,
Thank you,
bro.
man. I appreciate you
Yeah,
so much.
this is solid.
It feels good, man. Because sometimes you're building it, but not too many people. It don't
Right,
feel like people see it, but
right,
I appreciate that because I'm sure you're friends with CNN Mikey and all them
right,
guys. So you've probably seen one of my early
right.
episodes where I didn't have nothing. It
Right.
was just me, CNN Mikey, and like one shelf.
Yeah.
But man, just imagine CNN Mikey gave me that opportunity to sit down with him. So that
Right.
was really nice of him to actually give me that opportunity.
Right.
And now I get to sit down with all kinds of different people.
Right. Because it is good to build your catalog of people, because then
Mhm.
it will make more people want to get onto your program.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely a plus. But
Yeah. Where did you grow up? What side of town did you grow up on?
I grew up on the north side of Toledo
Okay.
up until I was about 10 years old. And then once I reached about 10, I was actually taken away from my family. My mom and my dad, they were just not really fit to be parents, honestly.
Mm,
They let us roam the streets all the time. And I'm not really too ungrateful for that, because
mm,
it really is what gave me my musical talent and drive that I have,
okay.
because if it wasn't for them, I would have never fell in love with the hip hop music. I wouldn't have been a part of that culture.
Yeah.
Like, all my friends when I grew up were just predominantly black, you know what I mean? And then,
Mm,
like, half my family is Hispanic.
okay.
But I didn't uh receive like my Hispanic family until I was taken away from my
Okay,
parents,
okay.
because my aunt and my uncle is actually who took me in.
Mm.
And once they took me in, that's when I found God and discovered that, because
Oh, so you
they
believe in God too?
yeah, they
Oh,
took
that's
us out
awesome.
they took us out of the public schools and put us in private schools. So I
Mm,
started going to Queen of Apostles, which,
okay.
this is the crazy story. When I was living with my mom and my dad, I actually failed the third grade 3 times.
Damn.
So when my aunt and my uncle took me in, I started going to Queen of Apostles, and they let me take a test. there's some sisters there. Sister Brenda was the principal there at the time.
Wow.
And she actually let me take a test, and she told me if I passed the test that they would put me in my right grade. And so I ended up passing the test, and they put me in my right grade, but they ended up making me do summer school after
Yeah.
that year just to make sure that I caught up or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was just really grateful for that because I couldn't imagine how far I would be behind right now
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that. But
That's like an angel sent to you,
yeah,
man,
God
to
bless
get
their
you back on
souls.
track. You know what I mean? So
Oh
you
yeah.
don't fall so behind.
Oh yeah. And so that was like one gift that I got, with
Mhm.
getting taken in by my aunt and my uncle. But they just
And they were Hispanic? Were they Mexican?
so my aunt is white. She's actually the
Uh,
sister of my father,
okay.
and my uncle is the one who's
Mexican.
Hispanic.
Okay, yeah.
And so growing up with them, my uncle, he has 3
Yeah,
sons.
so it's like a
And they're like, they just used to bully me all the time. They toughen me up a little
yeah,
bit,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? They made me go out, play football, rub my face in the dirt a little bit, but
Mhm.
it was all needed,
Yeah, yeah.
and when I after I graduated, that's kind of when I got really rebellious,
Mhm.
and I wanted to go back to my roots because I wanted to find myself, when after like a little bit after I graduated is when my dad passed away.
Mhm.
And like I just started rekindling like that relationship with my dad, and then found out he had cancer. He had
Damn.
got pancreatic
Sorry
cancer.
to hear about that, man.
And so like I still go through life till this day, like not having like a full man-to-man conversation with them, like
Mhm.
I do know who my dad is somewhat, but I don't really know who he actually was, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And like that's something that bothers me a little bit here and there, but I kind of just use it as motivation now,
Mhm.
especially like for my music and everything that I'm trying to do. And I definitely tell kids all the time, like make sure you show your parents how much you appreciate them and everything, because you never know,
Yep.
they may not be there. And my dad, he wasn't the best dad ever, but he was still my dad,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And so like when someone like that passes away and you don't really know who they are, it's like, or haven't got a chance to really find out like the type of man that they really are, it kind of makes you feel like you lose a part of yourself.
Mhm.
And my uncle, he was a very good father figure growing up. Like he was really hard on us at times, but it's what I needed to be disciplined,
Mhm.
because when I was a kid, I was terrible. Like I was running the streets, uh, s- s- get robbing people, getting drugs. Like I had a gun when I was 6 years old.
For real?
That's how bad it was on the north side of Toledo.
Mhm.
Like it's terrible over there.
And your mom and your dad just let you do
They
whatever.
just
They didn't
let us do
care.
whatever. It was so bad, the environment we were living in. Like there was holes in the wall to where you could just like walk one room to the other through the hole in the
Damn.
wall. Like that's how trap house it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
And like my parents, they would just let people over and party,
Just
do
random people that
abundance
nobody
amount of,
even knew and shit.
yeah.
Like, that's your uncle. I'm like, hell no, I
Right.
ain't my
Like
uncle.
that's definitely
I
not
grew
my
up
uncle.
around shit like that too. I used to sell drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got caught in a big drug conspiracies. So I've been around people that I used to have
Right.
to serve and stuff.
And you're just like, yeah, I'm not related to that person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I know like they would buy like people like that, like they would be buying like their kids an Xbox and then a couple weeks later sell it and then tell their kids somebody stole
Right.
it.
Yeah, we had got a Nintendo 64 one time for Christmas, and then like a couple months later, we came home from school and it was just gone, and we're
Yeah,
like,
somebody
"What's going
stole it.
on?" Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody stole it.
Yes, I know exactly. Don't I know, bro. I've been in them, and I've been in situations where I did drugs and I was strung out on pills and shit for a minute. So
Right.
I've been through all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, it's glad that you turned your life around for
Yeah,
the
no,
better. No, and you're out here, helping people and inspiring people.
yeah. I'm trying to do better every day. So keep going with your story. My bad.
Okay, so I
Sometimes I get a little.
let me get a sip real quick,
Yeah.
some water.
Sometimes I put in a little thing, a little.
No,
But
a
really, I
little
want to hear your
right,
story.
a little 2 cents isn't
Yeah, yeah,
bad.
yeah. It's good because I don't want to get sleepy and fall asleep over here.
Yeah. Well, I ended up going back to my roots after my father died, and I was doing this FLOC homie program. We
Mhm.
started this FLOC homie program, which is a part of this nonprofit organization of FLOC. It's right here
Mhm.
on Broadway. And I was actually the first class to graduate from this program.
Okay.
And the first class of this program is actually who created it. So me, Miguel Dominguez, and Chent Ruiz is the ones that started the program.
Mm.
And I had to literally make a bunch of posters of like the program and put the posters everywhere on the wall and stuff like that.
Mm.
So when the county commissioners came in to see what the program was actually about, they had like substance there to see like what was going on, because at the time we only had 3 people,
Yeah, yeah.
and so
Does Benjamin Santiago work for that or something? Flock.
I think he's
Benjamin.
so now, you know what
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean? It's progressed so many like people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
So
seen him promote Flock when like the immigrants were
yeah.
like protesting
Right. It's
downtown or
mainly
whatever.
FLOC is stands a farm labor organization.
Oh,
So they basically are fight for rights of like farm workers,
oh, okay, yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot of the farm workers are obviously Hispanic, and they're working in like terrible environments. They're
Mhm.
getting paid absolutely nothing just because they're like getting paid under the table,
Yeah.
and the conditions that they're working in are horrific.
Oh,
We used to
okay.
get showed pictures of it and all types of stuff. So like that was mainly a good reason why I wanted to be a part of that program, is
Yeah.
because we were actually helping change people's lives. And our president at the organization, he would set up little trips for us to go on.
Mhm.
And we went to Chicago, we went to I believe North Carolina, and we went to multiple different places, pretty much doing like community organizing and getting people like aware of these issues and what's
Mhm.
going on. And from that, we actually created that Flock Homie program,
That's
and
awesome,
the
dude.
the county commissioners came in. And so what the program pretty much consisted of was kids that just got out of high school were able to intern at whatever they wanted. So they could go intern at a studio, they could go intern at a barber shop, or
Mm.
go intern at like a to become a vet or something like that. And they'd spend 20 hours at their internship and then 20 hours at the Flock facility learning leadership skills. And so we ran that program for we were it was I think it was just like a 6-month program.
Mhm.
So after the 6 months they would hire a whole new group of people.
Mhm.
And so after, I believe after my class graduated, just the 3 of us, we had a whole nother group of kids come in, but now it was 15 kids. So as after that, it just started growing,
Oh, so you guys built it.
we built it and we watched it grow from the
That's
ground
awesome.
up. And what I did was I interned at a studio for my internship. So I was working at Reel to Reel Studios at the time. It was
Okay.
right there on McCord in Angola, and it's like one of the most staple studios in the scene,
Mhm.
here, the music scene in
Yeah.
Toledo. It like literally built like so many popular artists today. Like if it wasn't for that studio, we would be years behind,
Okay.
on knowledge of what's going on here, like
And that's called Real
distribution.
to Real.
Reel to Reel Studios. It was
Mm.
owned by Head Mac.
Uh,
Head Mac Goolsby. He goes by his real name's Ronald Goolsby, but he goes by Head Mac, spelled Hedmac,
yeah.
and his name is like drawn from like the Mac computer,
Yeah, yeah.
because he was very clever and creative, you know.
From back in
And
the day when
yeah,
the computers first came out and
and if
stuff.
it wasn't for him, like I wouldn't be White Noise, like
Dang.
he is what drove me, because I always felt like I had to prove him wrong, and like when I first met him,
How did you even like go? What made you go over there?
so
Oh,
what
because of the
so
internship.
what the internship, I knew about the studio before the internship.
Okay.
I found out about the studio from my buddy Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, and you're
He
already interested in music.
Right. I was
Okay.
already actually doing music before that.
Okay.
But I just found it as an opportunity to excel, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, and get more knowledge of what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And before I started interning, I had literally just got this this music video deal where I got on MTV. I shot my first music video
Okay.
and it was getting played on TV. Like
But at that time, you weren't white noise, though.
yeah, I was.
You
Actually,
was
this
white
was like
noise?
my first song. The
Okay.
song's called 419. And so when I first put the song out, I had got millions of views and I got on Vivo. I had my Vivo channel and
Oh, yeah?
everything. And like basically after a couple years later, I ended up taking the music video down because MTV was like taking all my rights to the song. So
Uh,
like I got like a couple million views and only got paid like $100. So
uh,
I was like, this song is just worthless at this point. So I took it down, which was a mistake because now I would still have all those views and
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like visually appealing, you know what I mean? To see like that you had all those views. But in my eyes at the time, I'm like, dude, I'm losing money on this
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm taking this down. But I actually ended up re-releasing the song this year.
You did?
Yeah, so and I got the music video back out on my YouTube channel. But the new music that I got coming out is all being made with my bare hands. So like my new album that I'm
Mm.
making the beats from scratch, like straight up just, you know, with through my own mind and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to make my own sound because when I hear all these artists, they all sound the same. They're just drowned out in auto tune, got
Mhm.
the Detroit style beats, and like they're all using the same sound effects in their songs and stuff like that. I'm just trying to make my music sound completely different, like
Like,
that
try to
new
make it unique.
2025 sound.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of how I'm going and developing my album.
Mhm.
And like I always knew how to mix and master songs, but I never really tried making my own beats. I always used to have my buddy Nook make my beats. He's the guy that owns the North District clothing line on
Mhm.
the north side of Toledo. But
Yeah.
if you go over there, like everybody wears his clothes. Anybody that's
Mm.
from the north side, that's all you see, North District
Yeah.
everywhere.
Is that hat you're wearing, North?
Yeah, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love wearing the brand because from the average person that doesn't know about it, they probably think it's like a gang or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some like gang related stuff, but it actually is an acronym for nothing over real family. That's what it
Oh.
means. But like growing up in the hood, they used to be like, oh, on North, I didn't do this, or oh,
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
North, I didn't do that. So like they used to always say it with the F at the end,
Yeah, yeah.
because it was kind of like the slang. So then
Yeah.
he just kind of made it into a clothing brand, which was pretty clever.
Yeah, so smart.
Yeah. So yeah, I always admired him for that. And aside from that, he's actually a really good guy. A
Mm.
lot of people that grow up in that environment, they're not really focused on that type of stuff. And he actually helped develop the Save the Youth program, and he's currently working that now while
Yeah.
still doing music. So it's like something that I really respect him for.
Is that the guy that created the North then?
Yeah,
So he makes music, he makes a clothing line, and he helps.
and he does stuff for the community.
Wow,
He
that's
does
awesome.
like these Wilson Park tournaments every year too, like
Mhm.
little basketball tournaments, just to try to keep the kids out of the streets,
Yeah.
and get more involved in their community and show them like there's a better way out,
Yeah.
you know.
That's sweet. Okay, so but hold on, we're jumping all over the reel to reel. Remember,
Right,
we were talking about reel to reel.
right.
That's when you first. Is that when you first started like
That's when
getting
I
into?
first started getting into the music scene. And like from there, that's when I started like getting an abundant of opportunities. Like, I got to open up for Bone Thugs and Harmony. I
Mm,
got to meet a couple of famous people, you know what I mean, and behind stage. And it just really opened my eyes to like how everybody's just a person.
mhm.
When you see these other famous people online, like you think they're above everybody else, but then when you
Yeah,
meet them in person, they're just an average
yeah,
guy,
just a regular guy.
just an average person with just a reputation that they're trying to uphold.
Mhm,
And so like I realized that, and like every time I go around people, I just tell them like I'm a normal guy first
mhm.
and then I'm white noise second.
Okay.
Cuz like I'm still the type of guy that'll drive a forklift in the morning.
Mhm,
Like pick up jobs here and there in the morning,
mhm.
just to try to save money because we don't got it like that in Toledo,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're not going to survive without having some type of income coming in.
Mhm.
And, sometimes the music isn't always going to be solid. It's not going to keep you financially stable, especially if you haven't released any music. And
Mhm.
me, I'm so picky and particular about what I put out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That I could flood the industry with just song after song after song and get bunch of plays, because the more product you have out there, the more money and streams you got, because
Mhm.
the more you know music they can actually play to accumulate your
Yeah,
streams
like
up.
Russ.
Yeah,
Russ says that he got so much music out there
right. That's
that
all you got to do is just keep oversaturating them with your music. But me personally, I don't want to do that because I care so much about my legacy. Every
mm,
cover art that I put out, every logo that I do, everything that I put out, I'm specifically doing it with my bare
mm,
hands through my own vision.
okay.
And like that's the type of artistry that I'm trying to leave behind. Like my Wikipedia page that I'm trying to develop is solely telling my story.
Mm,
And like the average person, they don't even know about this. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm thinking, like, after I pass away, what's the number one way people are gonna find out about me? They're gonna search me in
Yeah,
Google,
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
and how you become the number one search result on Google is having a Wikipedia page, because that's what the paragraph that pops up about any famous
Yeah.
artist or famous like content creator. Like their Wikipedia page comes up first. They got their little knowledge graph in
Yeah,
Google, you know
yeah.
what I mean, and their Wikipedia page. Well, I learned that how you get your Wikipedia pages, you have to have multiple different articles written about you. So that's when I started my journey of trying to figure out how I get on these big name platforms. Well, it all came down to realizing that everybody's just a normal person,
Yeah.
and everybody's got an email address. Everybody has a phone number.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Like, how do I get on the Source magazine? And then one day it hit me. You go on the Source magazine and you look and see who the author writer is. That author writer has an Instagram, has an email address, has
Mm,
this. So then I realized that the music industry, it is partially, yeah, you got to have good music, but the biggest thing about the music industry is about building relationships with the right people, because that's what's going to get you places. So I ended up contacting the writer on the Source magazine, and then I ended up getting in the Source magazine. You know what I mean? I got a whole article written about me and my story and everything, which
yeah.
I was extremely grateful for, because at the time CNN Mikey had just got signed.
Yeah.
So he had an abundance of like articles being wrote about him, but it
Mhm.
just specifically stated that he had got signed. And then
Mhm.
I had, like, a couple weeks later, I had literally got an entire like article written about my entire story.
Oh wow,
You know what
that's
I mean?
awesome.
My entire life story in the Source magazine. So I was just extremely grateful for that.
Mhm.
And like I'm just doing it independently,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And so then I got into this other website called allhiphop.com. They're another big outlet or whatever.
Mhm.
So I'm just, I think you needed about 6 or 7 articles to get a Wikipedia page. And then within one of those articles, you have to have a notable achievement. So they have
Mhm.
to state that, excuse me, they have to state that you got on national radio, you, excuse me, you got on the billboards, you got you're like the most notable person locally in your area or
Mhm.
something like that. Like
Yeah.
there's basically a list on Wikipedia that tells you your notability
Dang, I
criteria or
didn't know
whatever,
all
you know what I
that.
mean?
You're teaching me, bro.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's kind of what I do. I'm kind of the guy that's behind the scenes that makes everybody else famous. Like
Trying, yeah.
me personally, if I wanted to blow up, I could do it tomorrow.
Mhm.
The industry comes down to just buying subscribers and views. That's
Mhm.
how you compete with these big name artists. Your music will get buried unless you buy its promotion. Because if I sit there and I put my song out and I let it sit there at 1,000 views, nobody's gonna believe in me. But
Mhm.
if I sit there and I get it 1,000,000 views, then everybody's like, "Oh, White Noise is popping right now." You know what
Mhm.
I mean? But they don't even realize that's how the industry is. That's how they get you. You got people like Ice Spice or Takashi 69 or some, and they just come out of nowhere and got 1,000,000 followers on every platform, and you
Mhm.
just heard about them yesterday.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And it's because the moment they get signed, their label generates them followers on every platform, and they basically fake it until they make it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Then everybody believes that they're this big name artist, and they start going and actually following them and engaging on their profile, not even realizing that majority of these likes and followers aren't even real, you
Mm.
know? So that's
You're
kind of
right. Takashi 69 in an interview, he said that you can pay your way. He had stacks of money, and he was telling the dude in Spanish or something, you can pay your way to the
you
top.
could pay your way
He
to the
said if
top.
you have enough money, you can pay your way to the number one artist.
Yep.
You
And
can pay your way to all the radio stations.
yep, because they just buy their own album, and then they just boost their album sales, and they boost their streams. And a certain amount of streams, like I think like 1,000 streams count as like 1 unit I mean 1 unit sold or
Mhm.
whatever. So like that's basically what they do to get their units sold up, so they can get their RIAA
Yeah.
certification, go
And then
gold or platinum.
another thing he said, where you pay for the stream, you pay to get your song up there, right?
Yeah,
But then you get all that back when you do live shows.
yeah,
The live show money is all the ticket money's yours.
yep,
The, them people want the album money. They get the money from the albums and all
right,
that. They give you like a 3 cents
right.
or a stream. But then when you do a live show, all that $50 a ticket, that's yours
Right.
and your company's.
That's why a lot of artists aren't successful, because they have no idea, like the streaming money, that is not what's going to supply you financially. Like that is not the money that you're looking for. We're that's what this is what separates like an artist making it and an artist don't
Mhm.
is the merchandise and your shows. It's what makes the money. All the streams and all that, that's like little pennies here and there, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
That's
if you,
kind of like your commercial.
yeah, you know what I
But
mean?
you
You could,
really got to go live, do the music,
right,
sell the merch.
you got to go live and start selling the merch, and you got to get out here and start doing shows, because that's what's going to build real organic fans. You know, social media will only take you so far. You know, you could pop off and have a hit song, you know, like there's a couple of people that had like this popular TikTok song that just
Mhm.
blew up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they went to go do their live performance, and it was just cheesy. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
like, who is this person? You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
don't even sound like he does in the song. And like that will just destroy somebody's entire career without even before it even starts, you know?
Mm.
Like you hear this person and like they sound so immaculate, and then they come in person and then you realize they're like 4'5".
But yeah,
And, you know what I mean?
you
Like,
almost got to know your role. You
yeah,
might be the guy that just makes TikTok
right.
music, because that might be your role in
That
life.
might just be your avenue, and then you
like
just
that
try to
1 minute clips.
yeah.
You know, but
It just the internet is relentless now. You know,
'Cause
one
it-
slip up and it'll ruin your whole career. Then you got videos being made of you of just it's nonsense. You know,
Yeah.
like
yeah. So like, okay, so yeah, you're right, because if you don't have that stage presence,
facts.
you might get on stage, like you said, you might be like not the type of person, or you might not feel comfortable
Right.
enough to actually step out there and do all the
Because a
stuff.
lot of people that make music nowadays are introverted. You know what I mean? They're like they stay in all day and create, and they
Mm.
probably smoke a little bit and, you know, try to vibe out or whatever. Those type of people are like chill, laid back type people, you know? So then
Yeah.
when they put themselves in a position where they got to go perform in front of a ton of people, it like
Mm.
it's a like a culture shock to them. They're like, wait, this
Yeah.
is not what I'm used to, you know?
Yeah.
And like that was kind of what happened to me at first when I did that Bone Thugs and Harmony show,
Mhm.
because it was like my first time like performing in front of a ton of people. Like I did I did a show at Frankie's
Mhm.
one time, and it was actually it went really well, but it wasn't that many people, you know what I mean? And maybe like 50, 60 people were there.
Mhm.
But it was at Headliners for the Bone Thugs show when they still had it open,
Yeah.
and it was actually like packed in there. But yeah, so
So you
I-
got kind of like what, like a little stage fright, or
Oh,
just
yeah.
nervous?
I was just very nervous because, you know, it was just like getting thrown in with the wolves,
Yeah.
you know? And so,
But I mean, I'm sure it made you better, right?
oh yeah, it definitely did.
Like,
Like now I'm at the point where like
practice.
I'm 100% confident. Like I'm close to being the next best thing.
So what do you do now? Like, what you said, you and your girlfriend's a DJ.
So
Tell
my
me a little bit
girlfriend's
about.
a DJ, and she does like
Hold on. Let me start.
that is
I can-
amazing.
All I got to do is just put in the beginning of the podcast, put the logo and put white noise
Right.
and like put some graphics and stuff.
If you ever need help with that stuff,
put
man,
it.
just give me a shout and I'll
For real?
do it for you, bro. I'm god level at that stuff, dude. Like for real.
I've been learning. Like I used to have an editor and stuff.
Yeah, I would just do it for free, bro.
Yeah.
Just out of love.
Yeah. I know. Every single podcast I do, I spend $300 to interview you.
Dang.
I spend $300
How's that? Like just
because
like,
I have to
you gotta pay
you know,
the rent here.
I pay for my rent. I pay for my studio. I pay for
Right.
every like app that I have. I have all these things. I calculated one
right.
day.
They got the subscriptions.
Yeah, I
and all
calculated one day how much like every week that I pay for my guests and
Right.
stuff. So I put in my own $300 of my own money to interview just
Right.
random people, and I don't make any money on this.
Right. But hey,
So-
it's a passion and
But it
it's still
feels
doing
good,
something,
dog.
yeah.
Like, and I feel good because that's not like me handing you something. Like, here
Right.
you go, brother. Here's $300. I'm investing it into
Right.
you. Tell your story.
Right.
Give people some hope. You know, because I want
It's
people.
eventually gonna take off to where you're gonna make some money.
Yeah, I know.
because
Because I haven't. You just opened my eyes a little bit ago, dog, when you told me that about how the it's about merch. It's about
the
live.
live shows.
So
the
I need to
merchandise is
focus on that.
what's gonna get you to where you want, and then also once you meet the monetization criteria for YouTube, I think you just need about 1,000 subscribers, and then you need that 4,000 hours
Yeah, I
of
haven't
watch
hit
time.
that yet.
Once you hit that, then every stream you get paid for. But everybody thinks that you get paid for how many views you get, and that's not the case. It's actually the ad revenue that you get paid off of. So how many ads are being played before your video starts, and if they click on the ad, or if like some ads are more expensive than others and things like that. So that's how you generate actual money off of monetization on YouTube, you know?
Okay. All right. So thank you, man. I appreciate that because I'm still learning, you know?
Right.
Well, tell me a little bit about what we were talking about right before I cut you off.
Oh, you're fine.
You and your girlfriend, you guys, she's a DJ, and tell me about a little bit of how you guys met and everything.
Okay,
Like your whole
so
story.
How we met was we met through her friends because I was going out every weekend. I was trying to get over this breakup. You know, I was heartbroken, and I was trying to break out my shell because like when I was in this toxic relationship, I just was introverted. I didn't never go out. All I did was play video games, smoke weed, chill at the house, you know, and then maybe work my day job here and there, just in and out of jobs.
But you were making music too, right?
Yes, I took a very long break from music when I got in this toxic relationship because it was just so mentally draining, you know. I couldn't be. I was not in the creative mind for it.
Yeah, I hate those
And,
relationships.
Once I got out of it, I kind of broke free and I started going out. And I started going downtown because that's kind of like the popular thing to do here in Toledo. Everybody likes to go downtown and bar hop and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I got hip to that Magnolia downtown, which is like this nightclub. And it just became this very like popular scene. And so like my first couple weeks going down there, I was just like this normal guy, you know. And then I started having a couple drinks or whatever, and then I started showing people who I was, you know. Then they look me up, see I got the little blue check mark, I got white noise on all platforms and all this stuff, and they're like, wait, this guy's actually legit, you know.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm the popular guy. Everybody wants to hang out with me. Every time I show up to Magnolia, they're inviting me into the VIP section and let me drink the champagne, and I'm starting to show up to the club with a group of women, and you know what I mean. I'm looking the part now. I'm like, wait a minute, now I actually am white noise. Like, you know, when I was just introverted, I would just stay inside, and you know, I didn't feel like white noise at all. I just felt like myself, and just like I was going nowhere with it. Well, I ended up going to Magnolia, and I met this group of girls, and through those group of girls, I followed them on social media, and when you follow someone on social media, they'll have like a section where like you might also know these
Mm-hmm.
people. So when I
Yeah,
followed
yeah,
those,
yeah.
I ended up seeing my girlfriend in these people you may know
People may, yeah,
section,
you may
and it
know.
was just like DJ May. You know what I mean? So I was just curious on who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my girlfriend, she has like no revealing like pictures on social media, which is extremely hard to find for a female
Yeah,
nowadays
yeah, yeah.
because all these girls are doing the OnlyFans, or like they're just really attention seeking, want to poke their butt out or
Yeah, yeah.
wear skimpy clothes or something like that, you know? And so I didn't know what she looked like. You know, I was just, when I first was trying to reach out to her to get to know her, I was just trying to see if she would play my music downtown,
Mm.
you know? And so,
Okay, like you give her your one of your CDs and then she plays it.
yeah,
Oh,
or just
that's
give her
so.
a link so she can
Oh
play it
yeah, yeah, yeah,
downtown, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So
Link.
basically,
Yeah, CDs probably back in the
right.
day.
CDs definitely back in the day, but I wish they would go back to that.
Yeah, yeah.
CDs. But I ended up following her, reached out to her. We had talks about going to the studio, and then I found out that the studio was booked for the day. So then I had asked her, I was like, you know what, you want to just go out to eat? And she was just like, I was like, we could talk about music there, and she was like,
Mm.
sure. So she came out, and like the moment she walked through the door, I was like, all right, I really don't care about the DJ and stuff anymore. This girl's cold, you know?
Yeah,
And like for
yeah.
someone to have a figure like her, you know what I mean, and as pretty as she is, to not have no type of revealing pictures or anything like that on social media was like
Mm.
very shocking to me,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And she just carries herself in a very professional way. You know, she's a very educated girl, because
Mm.
when somebody looks at her, you know, working with her every single time she goes and DJs, I help her set up her equipment and things, and I see how people treat her,
Mm.
and like they just think like she's like this ditzy blonde girl. But truth be told, you know, like how educated I am with like my music and stuff,
Mm.
and how much knowledge I've given people and they weren't able to absorb what I was telling them, this girl's smart. You know, she
Mm.
actually, I can tell her, oh, this is how you distribute your music. Oh, this is the effect that you have to put in your song, or this is how you make this beat, or she can catch on to that like that,
Mm.
you know, and be able to apply it to herself. So she's very smart. And that's something that really drew me towards her, because everybody else that I ever talked to, you know, it was just more of like a physical attraction, you know, but it was, obviously I had a physical attraction to her when I first met her, but
Mm.
what drew me in was who she was.
Yeah.
Because when I first met her, I had no intention on getting in a relationship with nobody. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'll just get out here, have fun, whatever, you know. But as I grew to know her, like I was just like, I have to keep this girl
That's
around.
awesome.
She's such a valuable
And what's
asset.
her name?
Her name is DJ May.
DJ May.
DJ May.
Oh wow, that's awesome. And then the first that dinner, that was supposed to be a business meeting, right? About
Right.
some kind of like business proposal for
It's
both.
crazy because it was kind of like I was meant to be in her life, because she's kind of like starting off how I did. You know, I
Mhm.
didn't, when I started off, I didn't have a single page as White Noise, you
Mhm.
know, and then I had to trademark my name and get my name on every platform and things like that. So like she's in that stage now
Mhm.
where she's kind of built this reputation as DJ May. So now it's kind of like, all right, now we got to get your socials together and
Yeah.
build your brand up. And what better person to help her with that than
Yes.
me? You know, I don't
That's
even
perfect.
know there's anybody else in the city that can really guide her down that path,
Mhm.
unless she goes and hits up some entertainment lawyer or something like
Yeah,
that, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. So how do you do that? How do you trademark your name and all that?
So to trademark your name, normally if you Google it,
Mhm.
it'll take you to like a website like LegalZoom or something like that. But
Yeah.
then you'll get charged a ton of extra fees. So the cheapest way to do it is to go right through the government website, which is the uspto.gov.
Mhm.
And you go on there and you pay for the application fee, which is probably like $275.
Mhm.
And then you would normally hire a lawyer to help push the application through, because there's
Mhm.
a 6-month process. But
Mhm.
if it goes through correctly, you'll get your certificate. But the certificate you'll get shipped in the mail, but once you get it, you don't even have to wait for it to come in the mail. You could just go on the website and just print it out or whatever. But
Mhm.
once you get your certificate, that's when you're able to like act with it and be able to get like usernames or be able to take down any content that's infringing your rights or things
Mm.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So like
That's
really with
cool.
my trademark, my trademark is more powerful than the average person's because if I really wanted to, I could take down the white noise sleeping music. Like I could charge people to have to upload to be able to get that. You know what I
For
mean? If
real?
I really wanted to, but I'm not that aggressive of a person and I'm not very money hungry like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
like I don't want to ruin tons of other people's businesses and go through like this huge legal war
Yeah,
with
yeah,
all
yeah.
these other people that's just putting out sleeping music,
Yeah,
you
white
know?
noise.
But
That's crazy. So you like that name in white
yeah,
noise.
which is crazy. And I own the pseudo mark, and the pseudo mark is like a variation of the name, which is just white space noise. You know what I mean? So like I actually own the name white noise for like the static and the screen and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Didn't you start something like that too? Like you told me like you started a record, something in
Oh yeah,
back in the day.
so obviously
Tell me
we
a little
live
bit about that too.
so we live in Toledo,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously, and the most nostalgic name for Toledo would be Glass City. You know,
Mhm.
it's also called the 419 or the Mud, you know,
Yeah.
because of the Mud Hens and stuff like that. But I was trying to start my record label, and this was about 15 years ago. And I was trying to start my record label and I couldn't come up with a catchy name. And I was just like, what about Glass City Records? And I instantly thought it would be taken, obviously, because
Yeah.
like every business in the city is Glass City this, Glass City
Yeah.
that. And so I typed this username in on Instagram and boom, it's not taken at all. It was available. It just let me sign up. I was like, I can't believe this. So then I go on Facebook and Twitter and all the other social media, SoundCloud, YouTube, and I see if the username's available, and boom, I got it. And then the next step was to get the domain name. And once I got the domain name, I'm like, well, my company's established at this point. But obviously, it was bigger than that. I had to, you know,
Yeah.
actually make it a publishing company,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I ended up getting a distribution deal. And how I got this distribution deal was back when I got my Vivo channel created, which is on a part of YouTube. So as an artist, your Vivo channel gets connected to your regular YouTube channel
Mhm.
along with the YouTube Music app. You have, as an artist, you have three different channels. So you
Mhm.
got your YouTube Topic channel, which is part of the YouTube Music app. You got your regular YouTube channel, and then you got your Vivo channel. Well, as an artist, they combine all three of those channels together and they
Mhm.
combine the subscriber count and everything, and they make you one channel and then they verify you with a little music note next to your name. And like
Mhm.
that's how you become an official artist on
Wow, I didn't
YouTube or
know that
whatever. Yeah.
either.
And so I ended up getting that. I was like one of the first artists to have that. Like
Mm.
I was basically like one of the first artists to have all these different things in the city because that's all I used to do. I used to just be a nerd and sit there and
Mm.
research all these different
Try to
things.
figure things out.
And like I was the guy to go to, you know, to always call. Like I need to figure if you needed to figure something out with music, I was always the guy to call, you know, because I
Yeah.
already knew it, you know. And so I sat there trying to figure out how to get my bio up on all the platforms, and then you had to realize like you had to download the apps on your phone and claim your
Mhm.
Spotify page, claim your Apple Music and everything, and then certain websites like Apple Music, you couldn't even upload your bio to. And then
Uh,
for the longest time, I couldn't figure out how to get my bio on Apple Music. And then come to find out, it was through this company called All Music. And it's super hard to get your bio on Apple Music because you have to send in albums, and they may or may not write you a bio for your artist page, you know.
yeah, yeah.
And so like for years, I kept sending in music, and they never wrote me a bio. And then finally one year they wrote me a bio, and I was so happy. I just woke up one day and it was on my Apple Music, and I'm like,
Mhm.
dang. And so like that All Music bio basically supplies it to iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Apple Music. And then
Oh,
there's no other way to get your bio on those platforms without that. So,
without the Apple
so
bio.
like I'm pretty sure like I'm the only artist that still has that right now. Other than
Mm.
like they made a new way to get a bio on Apple Music, but it's not like an actual full written bio about your story. It's like they ask you questions like who's your
Mhm.
favorite artist, who's this, and then they put that in your
Yeah,
bio.
they probably use AI now.
Yeah, they kind of like use an AI thing going
Yeah.
on and create you that, but I got an actual bio like written by the All Music company, you know.
They probably what they did was probably take your records and come up with a bio of
Well,
like what.
they take a reference
Mm,
paragraph from you know what I mean? So you kind of like write what you want to be said about you, and then they
mhm.
take that and write it in their own words.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And then okay, so what are you and your girlfriend doing now? Like you
So
guys are doing you told me a bunch of stuff.
I'm
Um
really particular. Oops, sorry. I'm
no,
really
you're fine.
particular about the culture that we're building here, you know, and the culture that we have here is just all about going out and having fun, you
Mhm.
know, but keep it at a moderate level, you know, not going out getting plastered and getting sloppy, but just
Mhm.
going out having fun and showing people that you're a good time.
Mhm.
Because if you got good energy around you and you're very welcoming and people want to be around you, that's going to benefit my music, you know, because not only will I be a good artist, but I'm actually a good person in real life.
Mhm.
You know, that's something that people will take with them outside of my music, you know.
Yep.
And we're just kind of trying to build a good scene down here because, you know, we finally got my girlfriend solidified at that Whiskey Red bar.
Mhm.
She was kind of getting bounced around everywhere. And Whiskey Red is a bar that's just growing
This is downtown Toledo.
right across the street from the Huntington Center. It don't get
Okay.
more downtown
Yeah,
than that,
yeah.
you know? And well, the big like I said earlier, the biggest bars was like Magnolia or like Table 44, but
Mhm.
like the last couple of months, like the scene down there has kind of been dying, you know?
Mhm.
I go out a little bit and it's just not as packed as it normally was.
Yeah.
And I think it mainly has to do with like the music that's being played because you know once it gets that late, like once it gets around 12 o'clock or whatever, people want to hear music that's gonna be like make them want to dance and uplift and keep them woke, you know.
Mhm.
And if somebody's playing all this techno music and all this stuff, like yeah, it might make you want to fist bump or whatever, but
Yeah.
that's the kind of music that'll make somebody sick and dizzy. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean? They'll
yeah.
start realizing that they're drunk and then want to go home because they're just like, what are all these weird noises?
Yeah,
You
and
know?
we're not New Jersey.
Right. But if they listen to like Teach Me How to Dougie or like
Mm,
Cat Daddy or something like that or Get Low by Lil Jon or something, it's
mm,
going to wake them up and they're going to want to start dancing because they know that dance, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
from back in the day. It's just like a nostalgic hit
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
that's dope.
So, like, that's kind of like how my girlfriend is. She just plays like that. She knows how to read the room and
Mhm.
know who's in the room, what they want to listen to, and everything like that. And then she takes notes. So like she'll like a lot of these DJs, they don't take requests. They just play whatever they want.
Mhm.
And she'll take requests and mix it in right there on the spot,
Mm.
you know? And
That's
a lot of
dope.
these DJs, they just have pre-mixed stuff going on, or they'll go home and they'll practice their mix so they
Mhm.
know exactly how to do it in front of people, you know, so it looks impressive. But she literally does it on the spot and takes requests like right there. And once somebody requests something from her, she'll remember that the following week. So that person don't even have to come request that song. As soon as
Mm,
they walk in the door, 2 minutes later, she's playing their song already.
mhm.
So she's remembering that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of what makes her an excellent DJ. And then she also does like the karaoke on so she does karaoke on Tuesday,
Mhm.
which is kind of fun because I get to see like all these like
Mm.
different people come in and try their talent out or
Yeah,
whatever. And obviously some people are bad and then others
yeah.
are
That's
actually
fun.
decent. But someone who really got my attention at these on these karaoke Tuesdays is my dude Turnpike. Yeah, shout out my
Turnpike.
boy Turnpike, man. He's a cool dude. He's like the average guy, wears a suit, you know what I mean, like a buttoned up shirt and like
Mm,
just some khakis, you know what I mean? Like, but that's what makes him so cool because he gets me hype when he does this karaoke.
mm.
You know, he's got a very good stage presence and he also is trying to do music, but he's also a comedian. He's
Oh,
hilarious, you
for
know?
real?
And like he's
He's a
been going
talented
yeah,
guy.
he's a talented guy and he's been going in there these past couple of weeks and like he's really what like has been uplifting my mood because I would go in there on these karaoke Tuesdays and be like, "Oh, I got to help my girlfriend set
Mhm.
up. I don't want to be here, you know." And I'd go outside and like smoke, you know, and just
Mm,
try to stay away from the whole thing now I'm just there having fun. I'm
Yeah.
partying with them and just having a good time and welcoming everybody in and stuff like that. And it made me realize like everybody that you come into contact with, they all have their own superpower. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everybody can benefit you in some way. You know, like this one guy, he was like not mentally there all the way. You know, he's sitting there making these weird noises, you know,
Mhm.
at the bar. And I'm over here thinking to myself, like, you know what? I can sample that, you know? So I go up to him, I ask him politely, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I record you a little bit? So I start recording these noises that he's making, and then I go home and I sample it and make a whole fire song out of it. You know what I mean? And like, it just made me realize, like, it don't matter who this person is. Like, even if they're just a crackhead on the street, I'll
Mhm.
still show them the same respect as long as they don't lose my respect. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
give everybody respect until it's
Yeah,
lost.
yeah. Unless they
Eh,
disrespect
Right. And I learned that from my buddy Nook,
you. Mm.
because my buddy Nook that makes the North clothes, like he taught me that because he would have people over all the time. His house is like the most notorious spot on the north side. We call it the kitchen,
Mm.
because in his kitchen he feeds everybody, you know what I mean? He makes his food, and then he
Mhm.
has his setup right there in the kitchen. You know what I mean? We're all rolling up and smoking in there, passing it around. There's like 10 people there, you know what I mean, at all
Yeah.
the time, and he's making food for us and we're cooking up beats right there, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's why they call it the
The
kitchen.
kitchen,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just always liked that, and he didn't care who was there. Like this, he would let like just bums in his house, you know what I mean,
Mm.
and feed them and give them change to go get a drink and stuff like that. And like he never judged nobody. He would just always let them be around him or just welcome them in as long as they respected him, you know.
Mhm.
And that's something that I always admired him for that. So I kind of just brought that with me everywhere I go now. Is just like I never judge a book by its cover. And if I see somebody, they might have something to offer. They could change my life, and I don't even
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. He taught you well, man, because you're right. Every single person I sit down with here teaches me something.
Right,
Don't matter who it is.
right,
It can be someone that got shot 7 times, or it can be just a trucker, some
right,
guy that's, because I've had all kinds of different people.
right.
An artist. You've taught me so much today. Things that I can implement into my
Into your
life
life.
for my podcast.
Right,
Even though you're talking about music, I can still turn it around and implement it
right,
into my YouTube channel
right,
or whatever. So every single person can teach you something. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Keep going.
right. Because that's all it comes down to. Like you were saying earlier, you know, you're like you're talking about the expenses of the podcast and keeping it running and
Mhm.
everything, you know. And I was pretty much going to tell you, like, this will definitely take off. Like I said, like, it just comes down to investing into your platform.
Mhm.
And once you invest into your platform, then other people will start believing in it more because
Yeah.
they see your numbers going up, they see your followers going up, and that's what draws them in. Then the next thing you know, everybody wants to be on your platform because they see that it's growing and it's like
Mhm.
the popular thing to do.
Yeah.
Like my buddy, his name's Paulie Flex. He's
Mhm.
from the north side. He's part of the district team, the North District team. And he owns this platform. It's called Auntie House.
Yeah. I know. I trust me. I see
And
him. I
he has
love
this
that.
song called You're the One Baby. And he wasn't even like a rapper. When he first played me this song, like I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Like when he first showed me the song, I was just like, that's not gonna blow up, bro. There's no way, you know. Like even Nook and his little brother Mont and them, they like he played us all the song, and we just was like, nah, that ain't it. And then literally a week later, it's everywhere. Like I'm hearing the song everywhere, and he showed me that it's just all about promotion. You can have just a decent song and get away with that, and just be able to put it out. And as long as the chorus is catchy enough, it could go
Yeah.
wonders. You know what I mean? It could
You the
go
one,
far.
baby.
Yeah.
You the one, baby. He's dope, man. He's
Yeah.
much respect to him, man.
Yeah, he's a good
Because
artist.
the thing is, he blew up. His channel's dope. Auntie's House
Right.
is fire on Facebook and on YouTube.
Right.
And then I did kind of I was watching it. I seen that he started kind of dancing in the back of the,
Yeah,
like, all of a sudden you seen where he started, and I was like, I commented on that. Who's the guy in the back dancing?
right,
Because I was curious. Because I always thought, who is Auntie's house? Who is this
right,
guy? I didn't know it was Paul. I didn't know the whole thing.
right.
I'm just a guy
Because he's
watching.
so behind the scenes,
Yeah, I didn't
and he's
know.
such a silly guy. Like when I first met
Then he
him,
started singing. I was like, what the heck? Go
right.
ahead.
When I first met him, he walks in and I try to pass him some weed and he's like, "No, I only smoke roaches." Instantly I start laughing because I'm like, "There's nobody smokes roaches," you know what I mean? And so I just knew he was just like this silly
Silly
guy,
guy.
And then he's always like doing these little skits and stuff.
Mm,
And so he started off like buying like these like fake watches and stuff and started making
mm,
videos of that and it was just hilarious to me. But when you actually meet him in person,
yeah.
he is one of the smartest guys I've ever met. You know what I mean? Aside from myself, like I would
Yeah.
tell him he's the black white noise. You know what I mean? Because he literally knows everything. He does his own cover arts, he distributes his own music, creates music videos. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He edits all this stuff himself. The Auntie House videos, all that stuff, he does all that
Everything.
himself. And people don't know that. The
Yeah.
average person would probably think that he hires somebody to do this, and that. No, he's doing all that himself.
Yeah.
And that's something that was really impressive to me.
Have you ever met Tim from HD The Garage? This other podcast.
No, I haven't
He does
actually.
that too. Like him and they're I think they know each other,
Right,
but because he used to be he's an artist, Tim. He's an old school artist, and he has this podcast called HD The Garage where he sits the artist just by himself,
right.
and then he'll have like a guitar and
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I've
And
heard of it. I
yeah,
just never.
but he stopped. He ended up buying like a little store and he stopped doing his podcast. But I went over there, man. Smart dude. He has his own studio podcast. He makes all he has computers. He does all the editing, all the
Right,
and I'm like, just like you said, I can't like it's crazy to
right,
believe they do all that.
right. And like that's kind of like where I'm at, like when somebody meets me, they probably just think like I'm the average artist. Like how people are making their music now, it's kind of silly to me because the average person that you hear that's making music, they go
Mm,
on YouTube and they'll type in whatever their favorite artist is, and then they'll
mm,
type in type beat, and then they'll go through the list of beats, a catalog of beats on YouTube,
mm,
and that these beats already have like 100,000, 150,000 views on them. So you can only
uh,
imagine how many people are making the same song to the same beat. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And then they take that beat and they rip it off YouTube. They use the YouTube to MP3 converter. You know what I mean? You go on
Mm,
Google, type in YouTube to MP3 converter, type on the first link, and you just copy the URL of the YouTube video and you paste it in there and press convert, and you can download the whole MP3 file. So then
mhm,
you upload the MP3 file to either Pro Tools, BandLab, whatever DAW you're using to record your music, and then you make a full song out of it. And
mhm.
so like that's how people are making their music now, which is
But
kind
then,
of
but it could be like a bunch of people using that same beat.
exactly. And so like to me, that's not true artistry. And like how I construct all my songs is started off getting my beats made by Nook. And that's kind of what accepted me into like the African American culture,
Mm,
where I grew up on the north side.
mm,
And that's what hip hop is. It's an African American genre.
mhm.
So like I felt like him making my music was like my acceptance into that. And it wasn't until a couple weeks ago that I started making my own beats. And then that's when I decided, like, you know what, my next project is going to be all me, because then
Mhm,
that there's what other authentic way to make my music and my album is just say I made this whole thing with my bare
mhm.
hands, the cover art, distributed it myself, did my own marketing, did everything independently, didn't even have a team, just did it myself,
Oh,
you know? So that's where I'm at now. It took me years to develop the skills that I have now, but I'm just glad that I was patient enough to just discipline myself to not put out all this music and everything and just leave myself up to this moment now,
mhm,
because like now I'm 100% confident that the music that I put out is going to be high quality, is going to be industry ready, and like the whole image and everything that I'm putting out is so well thought and
mhm.
planned.
Are you working on something right now?
Yeah, so like if you go on my YouTube channel,
Mhm,
my music uh out is just the cover arts, right? And then I got one music video, which is the 419.
mhm,
Well, my cover arts, there's um it shows my cover art, and then on the side there's a blue sides on it, and
Mhm.
those blue sides are auto generated by YouTube. So YouTube will pull the most color, the color that's used the most out of that cover art,
Mhm.
and they put that color on the side of your video,
Yeah.
because when you make a cover art, it's square, and
Mhm.
then your video on YouTube is obviously a
Yeah,
rectangle for the thumbnail.
Yep.
So when you post video, your music on YouTube Music, the thumbnail is the sides of it is an auto
Mhm.
generated color by YouTube, and in the middle of it is your square cover art, right?
Yep, yep.
So the first song after I took 419 down, I started from scratch, and I put out this song called LaGrange Be Steppin'. And like what the song represents to me is me struggling in that relationship that I was in. And I was living on the north side. I had bought a house right there off Palmer and LaGrange. And like I found myself walking up and down LaGrange all the time, like buying Rellos and walking over to my buddy Nook's house all the time and hanging out and helping him create and set up his businesses and things like that, and helping him create his merchandise and stuff like that. And then uh the song just pretty much represents like me as an artist, my
Mhm.
background of growing up on the north and everything like that. And like my whole persona is like, how are these other rappers famous and I'm not famous when
Mhm.
I've done all this myself? I've not even met an artist that knows what I know, which is
Mhm.
crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like they get signed, and then their record label and their A&R does all the work for them, makes the Wikipedia page, creates their website for them, does their cover arts for them and all this
Mhm.
stuff. And they have like very minimum like creative control over what they do. Well, before I get off track, the cover art to LaGrange Be Steppin'.
Mhm.
So, couple years ago, we threw this huge event on LaGrange Street. It was we called it the North of July, because
Mhm.
it was on the 4th of July. We
Yeah.
started it. Well, we started this party. It was on this bar called Barnett's. It's right there on LaGrange Street. And we started the party, and next thing you know, LaGrange, the whole strip of LaGrange is just packed. You can't even drive down it.
Dang.
And we had the party going all the way till 4 or 5 in the morning, to the point where police would have to come shut it down, you
Yeah.
know? And so after the 4th of July, every weekend, all the way up until like the beginning of August. That's every weekend. Everybody was going on LaGrange Street,
Yeah,
and
they
they
were
was packing it
closing the
out.
street
They were
down.
closing the street down till 4 or 5 until the police came, and then finally, like the police like had to put up like a actual camera. You know what I mean? They put a camera right there
Yeah.
at the location so people couldn't do it. And then they ended up doing like this huge raid, like drug bust at this like building right next to the bar. So then the bar owner was like, no, we're not doing that no
Mm.
more. So yeah, they ended up shutting that whole thing down. But the cover art of LaGrange Be Steppin' is me in front of the bar, but it's just my foot. You know what I mean? And
Uh,
it's got on the north, everybody wears New Balances because it's got the N on it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's for the north. So I'm
Okay.
wearing a pair of New Balances, and you can just see my foot taking a step. And you see that little blue door that's right in front of the bar. The bar
Yeah.
has a blue door on it, right? So when I posted the cover art, and uploaded it to all the platforms or whatever, YouTube auto generated the sides of that to be blue.
Mhm.
And so it did that because of the door.
The
And like
door.
the door is what opens up pathways. You know what I mean? One
Yeah.
door opens, another one, one door closes, another one opens. So like it was like the perfect song to revamp and restart my career off of, right?
Okay.
And so me, I'm very like particular about like the aesthetic of my pages, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna use this blue somehow. This is the white noise blue now. It was auto generated by YouTube.
Mhm.
And so I didn't start using that blue. Like the blue meant nothing to me at first when I first uploaded the cover art. But it wasn't until I put out my second song that uh the blue became and meant something to me. So I'm driving down LaGrange Street, and I see this random white TV, like an old box TV, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I wanted one of those to play with because of my name, White Noise. You know, get the
Mm.
static in the screen or
Oh,
whatever. I
yeah,
could use
yeah.
it for like the beginning of a music video
Yeah, like
or like so I find this TV on the side of LaGrange
and it's white.
and it's white.
Oh
I
wow.
couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the heck? You know? So I grab the TV, I take it home, and I'm like I plug it in to see if it's got static, right?
Mm.
Plug it in, and it doesn't even have static.
Uh,
It's just a blue screen,
oh
right?
shit.
So I was like, you know what? Maybe I could I could still do something with the cover art. So I take it outside and I take a couple pictures of it, right? Well, when I turn the TV on, the whole screen is just covered in blue, right? But when I go take a picture of it, it looks completely different. It just has a blue strip going across the screen. So like it doesn't even look the same in
yeah.
on the camera as it does
Wow.
on
Yeah.
in real life. And so I create a cool looking cover art of it. It's like just a hand. It's my hand coming down, and I'm wearing a North jacket, and you can see the little N, so it kind of matches my other cover art that I have with my shoe. You know what I mean, having the N on it or whatever.
Mhm.
So and it's me turning the TV on, and then you just see the blue strip in the TV, right? Well, when I uploaded the cover art to my YouTube channel, YouTube generated the same blue on the side of my YouTube video. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
when I knew. I was like, you know what, this is meant to be.
The
Like I
blue.
need to use this blue.
Mhm.
So then the next song I put out, I wore a blue hat to make sure that it auto generated and so on. So and then
Mhm.
I took the same colored blue and I took a profile. I made a new profile picture, and then I made that the background of my profile picture the same color blue, so my whole like YouTube channel matches. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And so like that's kind of how I'm developing my music. You know what I mean? So I'm very particular about how I put my cover arts out, how I do my logos, how I, you know what I mean, my entire pages is presented. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
on my SoundCloud, right? SoundCloud, their color's orange. So on my profile picture, I'm wearing an orange hat. You know what I mean? On
Mm.
Spotify, I'm wearing a green hat. You know what I mean? And on Apple Music, I got gray on. You know what I mean? And like I try to match the platform, you know, just to be different. So when they go on there, they're like, dang, White Noise actually well planned this out. Because if I die tomorrow, I want somebody to be able to look up my pages and be like, dude, his stuff looks sweet. You know,
Yeah.
that's how I want it to be, you know?
Damn, that's good. That's good mindset, bro.
Yeah. That's how I care about it. Because I see people put music out and they just don't even care what the cover art looks like, or they don't care about like what they're gonna put out next. You know, their cover arts don't even correlate with each other. They just got, maybe they're a cartoon in this cover art, and then their next cover art they got like some like gun with some money on it
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like, you know, like I tried to make my cover arts tell the story of what the song is instantly. You know, like just a small image, and I focused on photorealism. Like me, I'm very good at creating cartoons and stuff, but I just saw it being like done too many times, and I wanted my music to be just really unique. And what better way to be unique than just give them a solid photo? You know, there's no words on it, nothing. You know, I don't put white noise on my cover arts or nothing, just the image to explain everything. And it's just a raw, organic image. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And nothing else. So like that's kind of like my theme and my thing. You know?
I've been learning. I used to make all my thumbnails like flyers
Yeah.
because I didn't know.
Right.
Then I went and did a podcast with like a really big podcast to talk about my prison story
Yeah.
in New York. This guy named Ian Bick,
Mhm.
locked in with Ian Bick. And then there he looked at my thumbnails and he's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. He explained to me like, take your logo off, he said, put a close up of that person, and then, you know, put like something that he said like throughout the podcast. He said, don't worry about making the thumbnail like a logo, not for my
Right.
podcast. He said, if I need to make a flyer or something, but not for the actual thumbnail that I'm gonna put, I want to make it to be like a spicy, like
Right.
you know, something like the one the guy said, the doctor said he would never cook again because he was a
Right.
chef. So I put it on there. The doctor said he'll never cook. Something where he's gonna catch somebody
Right.
to actually go watch that episode.
Right. Like
So
the
I'm
title
still
of the
learning.
video and everything.
So I'm trying to change. I'm trying to change it. I'm trying to learn. I use ChatGPT.
Right.
I'll make a thumbnail and I'll put it in ChatGPT and I'll say, what do you think about this one? And he'll say, oh, I like that one, but you should tweak this.
Right.
Maybe you should put, a silhouette around the person, or
Right.
or put make sure that those words are yellow instead of white. So it gives me things to try to, and also it'll say maybe make this title instead of that title.
Right.
This title might get a little bit more traction than that title. And I listen and I change titles and I change thumbnails.
Right.
And I'm just trying to figure it out.
Right. Well, you're doing a good job so far because your channel looks pretty solid now.
Yeah, and I'm learning. You can see it, like,
right. You can see your progression,
Yeah, you
which
can
is
see.
which is good. It's authentic.
because I'm learning.
When I started, what I mean, to where I'm at now, you will realize less is more because you don't want to clutter the image with all these different words and all these things because you'll realize people have a short attention span.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like flyers or cover arts or thumbnails or even just beats, you oversaturate too many sounds in the song, it's not going to be good. But then when you just put a regular kick, drum, and snare in there with a one little synth in the background of a melody, boom, you already got a fire beat. But then you start adding all these different sounds in there, and then it just is not even the same beat anymore. It doesn't sound good, So then you start realizing like the less is better.
You start making too much noise.
Too much, yeah.
Well, you got to get your words in there too,
Right.
Exactly. You don't want to drown yourself out, right? Yeah. It's all a big learning curve, man.
Right.
We got to keep learning. There's that thing where it says you got to put the 1,000 hours in.
Right.
The 1,000 hours, that's what gets you going. That's why I was telling Robert, just start the podcast, because that's what right from the beginning you said you've watched my progression.
Right.
So I tell them, just get out there, start doing it, and let people watch your progression. They can never deny you when they can see I went from doing my first episode in my living room, then in my car, then I rented hotels,
Right.
I rented Airbnbs, I rented this. I didn't have nothing besides that door and these chairs.
Right.
And I bought this at a garage sale, and someone gave me these two chairs, and I bought these on Amazon, like little by little. Right. I found, you see the words right there, faith, love, hope.
Yes.
Bro, up there at top, I found those three inside of a bag inside of a garage sale, and the lady said, you can have them, those are free. And I opened it up and I said, this is the name to my podcast.
Right.
Have faith, show love, give hope. You sure I can have them for free? She said, yeah. So I went and got new frames and I put them up there.
It's perfect.
Have faith, show love, give hope.
It was fate.
Before, it used to be called Big Yogi's Garage.
Right.
And I wanted to interview artists and entrepreneurs, but I was more like Big Yogi,
right,
flexing,
right,
let's go, making it about me.
Right.
But I want to humble myself.
Right.
I started going to church.
Right.
And going to church, I started seeing myself like, I don't need to be like this.
Right.
I want to just be more humble. That's when I started finding out about God, and I want to change my podcast, humble myself, because now I want to sit down with you, and I wanted to get to know about you.
See, I think the newer generation, I feel like they tried to make God uncool. You know what I mean? That's what happened, I feel like, because, they were like, since when was God cool? You know what I mean? And I'm like, God's always been cool. You look at Tupac, his biggest symbol is a cross. You know what I mean? Like, he's always been relevant, And like, I feel like this modern day, like, where they want to get more into like the LGBT stuff rather than like follow God and stuff like that, which, don't get me wrong, to each his own, like however you want to live your life. Fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what I really had a problem with was when people would get their whole lives canceled with just disagreeing with that way of life. You know what I mean? It's just like, I've never thought about canceling somebody because they didn't believe in God. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't believe in God and you openly say that, you know what I mean, that you don't believe in God, nobody's going to come for you and attack your business and get you fired and say that you can't perform here and you can't do this. Like, I just felt like that was crazy to me, seeing all these people lose their jobs and lose all these things because they just didn't support a specific thing. And then I also just never understood why like a sexual preference was being like pushed on
Yeah, I didn't
children.
like that
You know
either.
what I mean? But like other than that, like if the movement is fine, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like people can love whoever they want to love and all that stuff, but you know, once it's being pushed on youth and like they're just trying to create so many different things, like me and my buddy, um we had gotten to like a not really an argument, but more of like a debate with this
Mhm.
person. And he said something to me like that really opened my eyes because he was just like, how come all a human has all these different genders, but a dog only has two,
Mhm.
you know? And it's just like that kind of makes sense because like everybody's saying, oh, gender's on the spectrum and this and that, but you know, how come a dog only has two
Yeah,
genders? A
yeah, yeah.
dog can't choose his gender, you know? So it just comes back to like the man-made thing, you know, that like man is what's altering and creating all these different
Yep.
things, you
Yep.
know? And I started realizing that everything when they talk about temptation, you know, I mean, temptation is like one of the biggest things when it comes to like when I read the Bible that stood
Mhm.
out, you know, was temptation. And that's all you see nowadays is all this temptation stuff. And when I was dating these girls, these women, you know,
Mhm.
like a lot of them they wanted to use like these sex toys and all this weird crazy stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not really into that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like that's not how we share intimacy together. I think a lot of these people are lost and they wonder why they have relationship problems and they have
Mhm.
all these issues and they can't stay in a healthy relationship because they're so focused on like things that man has created that is like social media and these sex toys and this like whole new political outlook on life
Mhm.
with the community and stuff like that. Like they don't even realize these were all temptations put in a way that people fell for, you
Mhm.
know, just because something may feel good or something may seem like it's going to benefit you in a positive way. That's how the devil reels you in.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's how he reels you in. And then now you're selling your soul without even realizing it
Yep.
because you're doing all these immoral things wrong and you're living your life like that without even realizing it. And you think that it's just the way of life, you know?
So beautiful,
Mhm.
man. What's your real name, bro?
James. It's actually
James.
James Dickens.
James.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice to really meet you, my
Nice to
brother.
really meet you, man.
Man, that's an amazing dog. What you're saying right there, that's so beautiful, man. Because then you actually realize that. Look at right when you're talking to me right there, I realize that your parents let you down when you was a little baby, when you was little. You know what I'm saying? They let you so down, but guess what? You figured it out by yourself,
Right.
dog. You didn't need them. Yes, it would have been nice for them to show you exactly how to live your life,
Right.
but you figured it out, dog. You figured it out because you just right now you just said that you don't need all that bullshit from the world to even like intimacy with your girlfriend. That's private. God, when you have intimacy with her, that's something like you worshiping God. Maybe you guys aren't probably married yet, but
Right.
one day when you guys are married and you guys are loving each other, and that's showing your friends and
Right.
family like, look at them, they're together, they're working together, he's going and helping her.
Right.
That's like, that's beautiful, dog, because you're showing them that you now when you, if you guys when you guys get married and you guys have kids, you guys can guide them the right
The
way,
right way.
not the way that your mom and dad just forgot about you. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So they didn't teach you because they didn't have a moral compass to like, they didn't follow God, so they didn't have the right foundation to
Right.
show you the right way. So, but what you're saying to me right now is like, even though I know that you're still learning and I'm still learning,
Right.
but I can tell that you are trying to find your foundation.
Right.
So when you do have kids, you'll be a way better parents
Right.
than anything that anyone's ever taught you
Right.
before.
That's
So
something that I
James, man, that's why I wanted to know your name,
right.
because I've been keep calling you White Noise, but when you told me that, I can feel something like
Right.
godly, like something beautiful, my
That's why I
brother.
told you, I was like, I'm a regular guy first and I'm white noise second. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
sir.
Like, that's how I always roll because, like, everybody's just human. You know, it doesn't matter how big you are or it doesn't matter how big I get. If I can blow up tomorrow and I'll still go in, set my girlfriend's equipment up and just
Mhm.
act like a normal guy. You know, I realized like I don't want to be the big artist that's going on these huge tours, performing every weekend, and
Mhm.
don't have control over anything. I'd rather book my own little show, go fly out for the weekend, get a little Airbnb with my girlfriend, go explore the city for a
Mhm.
little bit, and then go do my show, then fly back home and just be a
Yeah.
regular guy
It's
again.
beautiful.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's what I would rather do. But coming back to what we were talking about, I realized like it's mainly like the parents is what's failing these children nowadays, because you tell a kid like oh, dating the same sex is wrong, or you know what I mean, and then they go out and experience that and they don't get any type of backlash for it. They realize like there's no consequence for that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like going and telling a kid, don't touch that. You know what I mean? And what's the kid going to do? They're going
Mhm.
to go
Touching it.
touch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then they find out that it's hot and it burns them. Now they're not going to go touch it no more.
Mhm.
Well, you tell a kid, hey, dating the same sex is wrong, and they go date the same sex and they don't get burned for it,
Mhm.
then they realize, hey, this may not be wrong like my parents said.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's kind of where they're at. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I see everybody
Yeah.
processing these
And
things.
all these like all these like different movies, and they just keep feeding into it.
Right.
Every movie has to have a guy kissing a guy. Every movie has to have
Right.
a girlfriend, or a girl on girl.
Right.
Every cartoon has to have a transgender.
Right.
Because they want to include everybody, but that's the kid that doesn't have that thought in his mind at
Right.
all. You're feeding him that transgender,
Right.
that
And
little.
their minds are like sponges at that
Yeah, and
age.
he doesn't. If he's never even heard of that word, why are you feeding it to him through a show that's like a little Netflix cartoon
Right.
or a YouTube cartoon? We shouldn't feed a kid that has no knowledge about that.
Right.
Let him learn that when he gets older.
Right. Something that I never understood was like making your sexual preference your whole personality. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it just didn't never make sense to me, because nobody wants to go hang out with the guy that all he talks about is sleeping with women and stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
just a player at all points in time.
Yeah,
You know what
you
I
get
mean?
annoyed with
And all
this.
he wants to do is like take his shirt off, and you know what I mean? He walking around like he just trying to get a girl all the time. You know what I mean? Like in a sense, it's like when I see someone like acting like that, you know what I mean? I want to stay away from them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
when someone like that is attracted to the same sex acts that way around me, I treat them the same way, because it's just like nobody wants to be around an overly sexual person, or overly person that's just dedicate their life towards like a sexual preference.
It's sometimes even like when you're around, like say one of my friends, and he's like keeps talking about like sexual things. I'm
Right.
like, bro, like what are you, like,
Like
calm
right.
down, bro,
Like go
chill out,
yeah.
go jerk
Don't nobody
off or
want
something.
right. Don't nobody want to be around that.
Like that shit's creepy. Like, because
Right.
like, now that I'm married, and I'm not trying to be around all that stuff, but
Right.
some people are still married and they're still like, their mind is just like going like gross and
Right.
thinking about the wrong things.
Because don't get me wrong, like I have friends that like this is not a podcast for like trying to diminish that
Mhm.
community and stuff like that at all. It's just more or less like I have friends that are part of that community
Me
and
too,
stuff,
man.
but they just act like normal human beings. There's
Yeah.
just people out there that just take it over the top, got
Yeah.
dildos on their forehead and just doing all these weird parades and all this extra stuff. Like I just feel like all that stuff is so unnecessary. Like yeah, it was a time where like being closeted and having to come out was like a huge thing and all this
Mhm.
stuff, but like now it's a openly accepted thing now. There
Yep.
is no like being closeted or buried or whatever unless you feel uncomfortable with that, you
Mhm.
know. But I just feel like as far as like the whole transgender thing is just something that I could never wrap my mind around. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's just like I feel like those type of people just don't love themselves. You know what I mean? They don't love themselves enough to the point where they want to alter their body. But then
Mhm.
again, I am somebody that doesn't even believe in plastic surgery either.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I believe in the body that you're given from God is the body that
Mhm.
you are supposed to live with, you know? and to alter that is like a smack in the face to him,
Yeah.
or just God in general,
I
not
don't know,
him,
man. I
her.
don't believe in none of that stuff either. But I also like I don't. I gotta. I sit down with people like all kinds.
Right,
Like I sat down with this one lady. She's she brought her girlfriend. I didn't even know. I thought we were good, and then it was fine.
right,
At the end, dog, we had a great conversation. Gave her a big hug.
right,
They're like they was loving it, and
right,
they knew that I'm Christian. I never like talked to her about like judging her about
right,
that. I just loved her. I had a great conversation. By the end, bro, hugged the girlfriend. Like we had a great time.
right,
They follow me on Facebook. We've never had like because the thing is, most people don't like you said. You'll be around them and it's all good.
right,
It's like a lot of it's on the internet that you get the extreme,
right.
the people that take it all the
Way too
way
far,
too
you know?
far.
It's more or less like when you meet someone like that in person, they actually end up being a cool person.
Great
It's just
people.
once it comes to a political topic, that's when, people start butting heads, and,
Yeah.
then it gets ugly, and then they're over there in the comment section saying all types of
Stupid
disrespectful
shit.
things. So like it's just it's come to a point where like with the whole transgender thing, like I'm okay with it until it's getting pushed on kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. I don't like none of that
I
either.
feel like a person that is transgender isn't comfortable with their own body. Someone that doesn't love themselves enough. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's like you don't love yourself enough, and now you're teaching these kids not to love themselves to the point where they want to change their bodies.
Yeah.
That's how I'm viewing it. You know what I mean? And I don't know how other people are viewing it. This just might be like, oh, it's their body; they could do what they want, or
Yeah, but
what's.
it's scary,
Yeah, it's
dog.
just scary what the world is becoming right now, because people are so lost with what they're being fed, you know what I mean, that they just have created this life where they don't even realize what they're doing, and their spirit, their morals, their
Mhm.
values, everything around them.
That's where it all starts. That's why it's good to have a good foundation from the beginning. Like at least believe in, I believe in Jesus Christ, but at least believe in a higher power.
Right,
And like, some people believe in God and Allah and Jehovah, whatever.
right,
I believe in Jesus Christ. It's good to believe in something so you can have a foundation. Once I learned what Jesus Christ wants for me, he wants me to be loving, caring, he wants me to create a strong marriage with my wife. And like once I know all that, I learn what his teachings are, then I can have that foundation. So when I step on something solid. When I teach solid. I can teach you or like anybody, I can teach about certain things. I'm still learning. I can't say that I'm a good teacher, but I'm just saying now that I'm learning about this foundation, I can teach it, and it's not sand, it's a
right,
solid rock foundation. So at the end of the day, when you do get married, you see, oh, Yogi, you can look at me and be like, oh man, Yogi's a good dude. He has a good wife.
right,
Look at his wedding, and you can show your wife and be like, look, like these are good. Not, I'm not saying that you could do this, but all just by us putting it out there on
right,
social media, you giving people an example to look at.
right,
Same thing with you and your girl. You know what I
right,
mean? You guys are doing your music, your DJ and stuff. You guys are showing people that it's possible
right,
to be in a good relationship, help each other, and still create something beautiful. And she's creating her own beautiful thing, and you're creating your own beautiful
right,
thing. It ain't like you guys are like up each other's, business or whatever. You guys are both creating two separate things, but also helping each other
right,
do it. So it's beautiful. And you're by you guys putting it online or even telling the story here, you're letting people into your life
right.
so they can learn from you.
Yeah, I just wanted to just further elaborate and just say like that I'm not like against that community or anything like that. And just because I don't agree with it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I'm just fully against it or anything like that. And I just want everybody to know,
Mhm.
I mean, that you can still be friends with somebody that doesn't agree with it or have a different outlook
Yeah.
and on life than you. It doesn't have to come to a point where you got to cut this person off because they have different values and principles than you do you know
Mhm.
because like I said earlier, everybody has something to offer. Everybody has their own superpower and can change your life without you even knowing. You know,
Absolutely.
there's a gay guy out there that could probably offer me a opportunity of a lifetime.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So like I never, like I said, judge a book by its cover, and I don't like look at anybody differently because of the way that they want to live their life. I just like we were talking about
Mhm.
earlier, you know, it just comes down to how I want my family to be, how I want to
Yeah.
raise my kids, and the morals that I want to keep intact.
I understand, man. You know earlier when you said that you worked for that FLOC thing and you
Right.
started that FLOC and you were saying about how immigrants and they get treated bad. Well, I'm an immigrant.
Right.
I was born in Cuba. I came here when I was a little baby, 6 months old. I go to prison. I lose my immigration status. They try to deport me back to Cuba.
Right.
They couldn't send me to Cuba. They finally had to let me back out in Toledo.
Right.
So I'm an immigrant. So I can, when you were saying that to me, I was like, oh shoot, like that's awesome because you're a white man that's helping an immigrant cause.
Right.
So like when you were saying that to me, I opened up my heart to even like God is like I always believe God is sending me the right
Right.
people to talk to. So when you were telling me that, I'm like, man, that's beautiful. You know, you're helping immigrants.
Right.
That's beautiful to me. I don't know exactly where I was gonna take that. I forgot. I was thinking about saying something else to you about all that, but I kind of forgot. But
See, when I started working for FLOC,
yeah.
like I was just like this, I didn't have no tattoos or nothing.
Mhm.
And like once I started this program and I started working with like a bunch of minorities and stuff, I wanted to feel what it was like to be discriminated against. You know what I mean? So that's when I started getting all these tattoos and stuff because it made me realize how people will look at you differently. You know what I mean? People will judge you for your appearance, you know, and you literally have to fight your way out of their judgment with your words and your actions, you know? And my aunt and uncle, like, they wanted me to go to college and, you know, find a good job and all that stuff. And it was just like, I felt like that was never for me. What I wanted to do was do music. So I went, and they're completely against tattoos. Like, that was, they hated it, you know? And I turn around and go get a music note tatted on my face. And that was kind of like showing them, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, you know? That's why I had got it. And then I got 419 tatted on this side because it was my first song. I got on the MTV with it, and it made me who I am now. You
And
know?
it's your city.
Right, and it's my city. So that's the reason why I got those tatted on my face. Like
Yeah.
my most
It's like
important,
a rebel. You're being a rebel.
my most important tattoos are on my face. I got my North tatted right here because that's
Yeah.
where I grew up, you know. And
Oh, I remember what I was gonna tell you. So you were saying that you don't judge none of them people.
right,
You still, you know, you just don't want it in your, you know.
right,
But what was it? I was telling you I'm an immigrant because what I was gonna say is, so I'm an immigrant and I clean people's houses now. I got a cleaning business called Toledo's Best Cleaning.
right,
So that's what my job is.
right,
So I'm an immigrant, but every day I clean different people's houses in Toledo. One day I clean a Trump person's house, and I got to do an amazing job. And they're up there like Trump, Trump, Trump. I
Right.
hate immigrants, and I'm just in there mopping their house.
Right.
And then the next day I got to clean a Biden supporter, you know, and he's
Right.
like, you know, Kamala, Trump,
right,
and they love me, but the guy that loves Trump, he loves me too.
right,
He doesn't even like know that he might know I'm an immigrant or whatever, but he don't
Right.
care. He wants me to clean his house and he pays me good and he loves me. He's like,
Right.
"What's up, Yogi?" He gives me a hug.
right,
He loves me, but he loves his politics. But I can't judge him because he loves Trump that I'm not going to clean his house.
right,
I got to keep going with my business. I got to shut up, keep going. And plus the thing is maybe I don't love Trump, but there are certain things that I don't like about the Democrats.
Right.
There's certain things I don't like about the Republicans. I don't like the Democrats. They're like pushing all of this gay and trans stuff
Yeah.
and trying to let men into women's
I feel
bathrooms
like that's
and
the
all that.
avenue that allowed Trump to win. That's
Exactly.
because, you know, the average person wouldn't vote for Trump. Like, who in their right mind would vote for Trump? But then once you start seeing like all this
all the
weird
crazy
stuff
that they're
that's
doing.
going on, you know, you were like, well, I ain't got no other choice, you know? And that's where people start voting because I obviously I'm not a Trump supporter because of all the immigration stuff that's going on, you know. But the thing is like there's so many pros to him being in office rather than the other lady that, you know, he was the right person to put in office because I feel like he has like a relationship with Putin, relationship with Kim Jong Un,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
kind of like a scary dude. You know,
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
tell
People
he's
are
not.
scared of
Yeah,
him.
he's not scared. He's not afraid to push the button. You know what I mean? And like that's where he was like a good person to put in there because, you know, when Biden was in office and Obama, like
They just want to do a bunch of woke shit.
yeah, and they just want to do all this woke shit and like they're allowing North Korea to build nuclear weapons, not even looking into it and just diminishing the relationship that we have with Russia, you know what I mean? And almost leading us into another Cold War and all this stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's
then
just like a lot of weird shit they were doing,
right.
bro.
And, you know, then Trump comes in office and he's sitting next to Kim Jong Un, you know, building a relationship, letting everybody know we ain't getting in no nuclear war.
Mhm.
You know, he's sitting next to Putin and having a personal relationship with them. You know what I mean? He's trying to end wars, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which is something positive that he's trying to do. Like, I don't agree with the immigration stuff at all
Yeah.
that's going on. But,
Yeah,
you
my
know,
wife doesn't like the allegations too, like the things that they say he's done to women and stuff like
right.
that.
Yeah.
So but I don't know all I don't know
Right.
everything.
There's the thing about the whole immigration thing
I
is
hate
like
that
if you
part.
take the people being taken out of the country, if they get taken out of the like either if they stay we're screwed, if they get taken we're screwed.
Mhm.
Either way it's bad, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because we need people to work. Like I clean houses. If
Right.
I'm not here, who's gonna? I mean, yeah, other people can start new businesses,
Right.
but does everybody want to go clean toilets all day?
Right. See
I don't
what
think
got
so.
scary to me was when I realized like the immigration thing was actually becoming a problem in America was it wasn't even because of like the Hispanic community. When people think of immigration, they just solely think of like Mexicans jumping the border or
Mhm.
something, you know, like that's the first thing that comes to everybody's mind is the
Yep.
Mexican community, right? Well, I don't even think it's because of that. You know what I mean? When I was traveling around a lot, I would Uber, right?
Mhm.
Or I would get DoorDash. Well, a lot of my DoorDashers and a lot of my Uber drivers are immigrants.
Mhm.
They would probably pay somebody to create them an account because they don't have a legal ID here or
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. And then that's how they made their money is driving around doing DoorDash and all this stuff,
Mhm.
right? So every time I would get in an Uber car and I would go out for the weekend, you know, to go party or whatever, it would always be an illegal immigrant.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And these people weren't even Mexican. Like I'm talking, these people were African. They were like
Yeah.
Arab. They
No,
was like
a Japanese dude.
Japanese. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
just all types of crazy immigrant
Don't
people
even speak
don't even
English.
speak English. And that's where you're getting scary because it shows you anybody could come in this country. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what's stopping somebody from sneaking in the country with a nuclear warhead?
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's what I'm thinking
Or
about.
like them dudes that tore down the 9/11 buildings and shit.
Exactly. You know
They
what I
just
mean?
jumped on a
We just
plane
jumped
and
on a plane, boom, went in there, you know? And like that type what the plane stuff, I feel like our air force now is on top of that.
you
But
never know though.
as far as like
Them
people
dudes just got on a plane and then took over the
right. It was a
cockpit.
very
It could happen again,
right.
bro.
But I feel like
Oh no, I
we're
don't know. They got marshals and all
right. They
that.
got a lot. They got a lot of procedures now, so I
Mhm.
feel like that the chances of that happening are very slim. But the chances of somebody bringing something in our country
Mhm.
are high because
Yeah,
anybody can just sneak into our country.
yeah.
That's how
People
weak
bringing
our
drugs.
borders are.
There's so many drugs coming right through the border every
Right.
day.
And it's like every other country in the world have borders besides us, and it's
Mhm.
because our country is so wide and so big. You know what I mean? That our borders are just like some of it's
Yeah,
just a little
some
barbed
don't.
wire, and you can literally just step over a little puddle,
Yeah,
and you're in America. You know?
yeah. They were trying to fix it all, but I don't know. It's a whole mess, dude. That whole political thing. It's better to just grind, work hard, believe in God, and try to just get like you said, like have some moral, like know what your foundation is
Right.
for you and your family.
Right.
Because one day you're gonna have kids, and you want to make sure that you can guide them the right
Right.
way so they can know what's right, what's wrong. Because like we can't fix everybody.
Right.
We got to make sure that the people we create, we got to make sure that they don't fall into the world like completely. You know,
Right.
they can do things that we can't like force feed everything. Like,
Right.
but we can let them. We there's certain things that we got to make sure that they stay away from, and certain ways that they got to go.
Right. See
Yeah.
how I see things is like people are just the way that our system is going on now is just it's outdated. You know what I mean?
Mm,
The way our system is now, like how I feel like the police officers in our community, these people should be introducing themselves. They should be going door to door, like, hey, I'm police officer Joe. This is
mm,
my district. You know what I mean? I'm just introducing myself, getting to know you and your family, and
yeah.
letting you know I'm patrolling these neighborhoods or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm Officer Joe. So, you know what I mean? This, and that. I
That'd be
feel like
sweet.
that's how the police should be introducing themselves. Like I feel like a lot of these police officers around here, they don't even live in Toledo. They live out in
Yeah.
like Sylvania and like Perrysburg and all this stuff. So like they see a guy like me that's got tattoos all over him and stuff, and they instantly think I'm some like delinquent or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if they were actually like more hands-on in the community, going door to door, meeting people, they'll be like, oh, that's just James from down the
Bro, I
street.
just had
Like,
a good
you
idea.
know?
Toledo Police Office should have a podcast where they sit down with one police officer every week and he tells his story.
Yeah, that would be
That'd be
awesome.
sweet, huh?
Right. You
Because
know?
then we could actually get on there. It would be on the Toledo Police Facebook page or whatever, and then we could like listen to a story.
Right.
Every single one of them has a dope story.
Right. Because
That'd
I
be
would much
sweet.
rather have a police officer that I know is patrolling our area than a camera in the sky that's
Yeah, yeah.
spying on us. You know what I mean? All the time and stuff like
And
that.
then you
Like,
can be like, "What up, Bob?" And he's like,
right.
"What up?"
You
You
know, and
know.
like then it's just like more of like a personal connection. You know, you're not gonna. It would literally diminish a lot of the
I think
problems that
that's
are
a
in our
smart move,
community.
man. That's a really good thing.
But the other thing that I was trying to think about the other thing that I was
Let
gonna
me
say
get it.
before
Let me
that.
take a break real quick.
Go ahead.
White noise when I make my graphics and stuff.
Right.
I'm not really good at all the graphic stuff, but
If you need help, just let me know, man.
I still, but I also want to learn. You know, like you said, like
Do you use
Polyflex.
Procreate or do you use Photoshop or what do you
I use
Canvas?
no, I think it's called Adobe Express or something.
Adobe Express?
Yeah.
I would definitely download this app. It's called Procreate. So
Procreate.
it looks
Let me
like
see.
this. Hold on. It costs like $12.
That's
And then
okay.
after you get it, it's an app on your phone.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can literally just make logos and all types of stuff. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
go here, I'll create like a little square image, right?
Yeah.
You can come up here, you could pick the color you want and just drag that in, boom. Now I got a blue background, right?
Yeah, that's dope.
And then you drag your pictures in like this, insert photo, right? I'll insert a photo of me and my girl or something.
Yeah.
And then I could take this little blue, right? I'll come up here, I'll go to the
Yeah.
brush, and I'll come up here. And, oh, hold on, let me make that more faint. Actually, soft blend it.
That's good. I need. Yeah. What is this
So
one
then
called?
Procreate, and
Procreate.
then I can soft blend it like that. Hold on,
Mm.
actually, let me increase this like that, bring
Mm-hmm.
that down a little bit, and then like get rid
Yeah.
of that line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
kind of
Sometimes
fade
I
it
need
out.
that. Sometimes
You know
I
what I
can't
mean?
figure how to do that.
See what I'm saying? The more you do it, boom. Now it fades out that line and kind of fades in that picture. You see
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then you can put your words over there or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like a flyer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of how you
Yeah.
implement your images in there and fade it out a little bit and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because I need to figure that out.
right. So that's, and then with this app specifically, you can actually, oh, hold on. When you draw a straight line, right?
Uh-huh.
I'll draw a straight line for you. Sorry, I gotta make a new layer real quick. This will actually, if you hold it,
Uh-huh.
it makes the line perfectly straight.
Oh
You know what I'm
shit.
saying? If you draw a circle and you hold it,
Yeah.
boom, it'll make the circle.
What?
Yeah, it'll make it solid.
That's
You see what I'm
crazy.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also like once you
You
make
can
the
go
circle, you
back.
can drag this in there. Boom, it'll make it solid.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I make a lot of cartoons off this. And if you got an iPad,
Yeah.
and you got an iPencil, your iPencil, you could just draw right
Oh
on
yeah,
it.
my phone has all that
Right.
stuff.
So
What is that? What is that app? What does it look like?
Procreate.
Let me see the because you know
It's a little swirl
okay,
like
yeah.
that.
That's what I need to know because you know sometimes you go look at and then you can
It's
never
just something
find the
different.
actual
Yeah.
app. They'll try to sell you some other
Right.
stuff. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for it's crazy how we just met like
Right.
just like randomly, and then Rick, you knew him, like you know them, like he's a rapper. What's
To
his name?
me,
Ricky.
to me, his name's Two Turn.
Two Turn.
Yeah. He I think it's Two Turn. I'm not sure. Let me double check.
No, to me, his name is at first John Wick. You ever
Yeah.
hear him nicknamed John Wick?
His nickname was John Wick on social media, but
Yeah.
the music, I believe his
He's
music
Two
name,
Turn.
I think is
Yeah.
what he's going by.
Yeah, but his
And
real name is what? Ricky Torres, I
I
think.
believe so. Yeah, I'm honestly, I don't know him personally
No?
like that. Like we run into each other all the time. Like
Oh.
CNN Mikey, I don't know him personally like that, but
Oh, okay.
we ran into each other a couple of times.
Oh,
you
see,
know?
I figured since you were standing there next to him,
Yeah.
I figured you was in the
Well,
circle.
I'm always vibing with
You know all
everybody.
them.
You know, I just be smoking and I'll always invite people in. I'm like always the guy that everybody wants to hang out with and be around
Okay.
because I just always am positive, having fun, you know, like, and that's what I was known for. Like I would stand outside, spark one up, you know, everybody's sniffing around. Wait, what is that? You know what I mean? And then they come and I openly invite them into my circle. And next thing you
Yeah.
know, I got 20 people with me. And then I'm like, oh, let's all go to Magnolia. And we pull up to Magnolia together. And then I'm looking like that guy pulling up with like 20 people.
Yeah,
And then I'm buying them drinks and we're just all out having fun, you know, like
Just
that's the
chilling.
kind of vibes that I'm trying to spread because, you know, it makes people realize like, all right, Noise is just a regular guy. You know what I mean? Like my friends, they don't call me White Noise. They'll just call me Noise. You know what I mean?
Noise.
So like that's all what
Yeah,
all my
that
hood
sounds
friends,
right.
all my hood friends say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because like
Noise.
they don't even want to hear the word white over
Yeah,
there. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like I'm like the only white guy they even allow over there.
White Noise.
So like yeah, they
Yeah.
was like yeah, you got to change that name because they didn't even know what white noise meant at the time. You know, they just like and like around the time like I was becoming White Noise was like when like the whole Black Lives Matter thing was going on and
Yeah.
all this stuff. So like my name was controversial at the time.
So what does it like? Explain to me like what it is, because like what
So
is
white
Noise?
noise
Because I think I know, but I
is
don't
the
know.
static in the screen, right?
Okay.
And so me, I'm that guy that's behind the scenes, like in the computer all the time. You know what I mean? Like constantly making all the moves, finding out the blueprint, you know what I mean? And things like that. And like I'm an entertainer, so I'm in the TV screen, you know? And then also white noise is a sound that drowns other sounds out. You know what I mean? And like that's what I'm trying. That's my purpose of rapping. I'm trying to be the best rapper. I want my sound to drown out everybody else's sound. You know. And then the pun to it is that I'm white and I'm making noise, and that's what hip hop is. It's a metaphoric. Everything's metaphoric that you say.
So that's dope. So there's all kinds of meanings
There's
to it.
There's all kinds of meanings to it, but I found that my name actually fit who I was after I chose to be White Noise. I actually didn't even come up with the name myself. So one day I'm just rapping and we're doing like these rap battles up at UT, and I ended up being like 3-0. I ended up being 3-0 at these rap battles. And like at the time, I was just going by like my JJ because that's what everybody called me in high school. They just would call me JJ. And I told them my rap name after I won like the third time. They were like, "You can't just have JJ as your rap name. You know how many JJs are out here?" And then like there was this huge black security guard, and he was like, "You know what would be a cool name for White Noise? I mean, for rapping, it would be White Noise." And at first, when he told me it, I didn't even like the concept of it. You know, I didn't even like it. And then I went home and was thinking about it like the next couple of days, and I was like, you know what, that is a cool name. And then once I started that internship at that studio is when I started building a reputation with the name, and people actually started calling me Noise
Noise.
because I got to introduce myself as Noise. So every clients are walking in the door, oh, who's that? And like I was Head Mac's right hand man, you know what I mean? So I was like that. Obviously, like that's my talent is to be able to like design websites, cover arts, do the promotion, all that stuff, help people brand, come up with a cool name and all that stuff. So, like, I was mainly always in Head Mac's office, and when you go in Head Mac's office, he's sitting there. There's this huge long table, and he sits right at the end of it. You know what I mean? Then you walk into the door, and that's all you see is this huge table, chairs on the side, and then just Head Mac sitting at the front. It's like super like aesthetic
Like a
business look.
boss.
Yeah, big boss, like and I would sit right next to him. You know what I mean? So when he came in, it's just when you come in, it's just me and him holding our hands like this on some very professional stuff, and come in, and then they would consult with us, about what they wanted to purchase or what kind of things that they wanted. And then Head Mac would look over at me and be like, all right, Noise, we gotta do this. And so then that's how he would introduce me to everybody.
He would tell everybody this is Noise.
Yeah,
this
he would
is
be like,
Noise.
this white Noise right here, he's the man to do the job or whatever. And then I would take them out to the actual studio and then go get the job done. When I was working at Reel to Reel, I mainly was focused on like the business aspect of it. So I didn't really focus on like the music aspect of it. And so I wasn't really hands on that much of helping record or anything like that, even though I did know how to do it. But it wasn't until there's this other rapper that's very big. His name's Obama. He's from Toledo.
I've heard of him, yeah.
He has songs with like T Grizzly and DaBaby and a bunch of people. Well, it wasn't until he opened up his studio, and God bless Obama's soul, because he doesn't even know this, you know what I mean? Because he's such a busy guy, he's got so many businesses, so many properties and all these things like that. He doesn't even know that he's the reason why I got as good as I did with recording, making beats, all this stuff, because I was able to go to his studio and practice, you know what I mean? And use his expensive equipment that he spent all this money on and be able to actually improve my skills.
How does he not know that though?
Because he's just such a busy guy. Him and Head Mac were both co-owners of this studio.
Okay.
So Head Mac knows because he was the one that was letting me in. He trusted me so much to the point where I knew the passcode to get in the back of the studio. They built this studio from the ground up. It's actually shaped like a diamond from the sky. So from the sky point of view, the building's shaped like a diamond. And it's got a basketball court in the background. And then when you go in, it's got those like epoxy like floors.
Yeah,
it's just super nice, you know what I mean? And like I remember one day, Ak was there, and like I'm all sweaty because it was super hot outside, and I had to walk to the studio this day and stuff. So I'm just like kind of looking a little rough, you know what I mean? And Head Mac called me, and he's like, "Oh, these people are about to move in some stuff or whatever. Just make sure you open up the door." So me being a nice guy, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'll just help him move it. And so I open up the door and I start helping him move it. Well, this table was super heavy, so I bring it in or whatever, and like it scraped the floor just a little bit. Man, I flipped on me. He was like, I don't know what your name is, White Lightning, whatever it is. He was like, don't be scraping my floor up. You know what I mean? And it made me realize like he didn't really even know who I was like that. Like he knew who I was, but he makes so much money, he don't even care. You know what I mean? He's like one of those type of people. Like, and I respect him for that because, he's just a busy guy, and I never really felt any type of way like that because he came at me like that. But I just was like, hey, he doesn't realize like I'm the one that's making all the power moves in the back. If Head Mac needed to figure something out, he's calling me like, Noise, how do I get on this platform? How I do this, how I do that. And like now like the studio is more of like private things going on there, so I could still go there here and there when I want, or go hit up Head Mac and stuff like that. But I got my own home studio now, so I'm more or less just like at home.
Hey, but you should at least be happy that he kind of knew what your name was.
Exactly, you know,
Like, hey, at least he called me White something,
right, you know,
White Lightning or whatever.
and
Because just like at least he knows that you exist.
right. I'm all about being humble because like when I first started making music, like and I got on the MTV channel, I got verified on Facebook. I got the little blue check mark. I was like the first artist to ever have that in the city. So when I got that shit went to my head. I'm over here on social media just bragging about it. I'm like, ain't nobody better than me. I'm the best in the city, and I got millions of views on Vivo and all this stuff. So I kind of needed experiences like that to humble me and bring me down and make me realize, like, you know what, just because you're smart, just because you got these things before all these other people, and just because you may have it going on right now does not mean that you're better than these people. You know what I mean? It's like, it made me realize that. And I feel like maybe now Ox come to like a humbling experience in himself as well, because he put out all these projects, and I know that he didn't reach the level of success that he wanted to with the projects that he put out, even though he's arguably one of the best artists in the city because of the features he has, the amount of views, and he actually got national play with what he was doing. And he has songs with like Young Dolph, who's a big name artist that passed away and stuff like that. So like, he has good foundation for his music, you know, but we all hit that humbling point in our life where we don't reach the level we thought we were going to reach, you know? And so, you know, it's just one of those things, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just like earlier when I said my podcast, I had to humble myself,
Right.
change the name, kind of like reset, regroup.
Right.
Because now my podcast has a goal.
Right.
Now I always say, you know, I started off like, I have faith, I show love to my guests, and together we give hope to whoever's watching.
Right.
So at this point right now, can you give me a message of hope for the viewers?
Right.
Like through your life story of like all the things that you've been through, can you look at the camera and give the viewers a message of hope or just inspiration?
Well, the message of hope that I would say is just always be true to yourself, and don't ever follow the crowd. Don't follow the trend. Follow what you believe is right, and what you can distinguish what's right and what's wrong, and what you feel in your gut and your heart. And also, if you get knocked down, just get right back up and keep moving, because even though it may seem like it's going to be the end of the world, it's not. And you're going to wake up the next day and there's going to be an opportunity out there that's going to change your life for the better. And if you're ever stuck in a situation where you feel like you need to escape, get the help that you need to get yourself out of that situation, because you could find yourself stuck and not ever being able to progress because you're surrounded by the wrong people. And there's so many people out there that will literally bring you up to the point where you'll reach the success that you're looking for. And my man right here is one of them.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, White Noise Kid. Where can everybody find you? Your social media?
You could just find me at White Noise, WHITENOISE, exactly how it's spelled.
All social media.
All social media.
And then how about your music? Where can everybody find your music?
Just White Noise. I'm a little buried. I'm working on my search results because, you know, I'm fighting the sleeping white noise. You know what I mean? When you search White Noise, it's kind of just hard to find me. But if you just Google White Noise rapper, I pop up, got my own graph and all that.
Okay.
But if you like type me in on Apple Music or type me in on YouTube, you can't find me. But if you type in White Noise rapper on YouTube, I pop up.
Okay.
But
and I'll try to find all the links, and
right.
Or you can send me the links and I'll put it all in the description.
Right. Once I drop my album though, like I'm gonna be #1 search result everywhere. Okay. So it just comes down to like an investment at this point.
And you did delete a bunch of stuff and you kind of
I got 4 songs out right now. Okay. And so, like, I'm about to drop a new single called Cups in the Air. Okay. And it's about, like, going out and having fun. You know what I mean? It's more, and it's a song that I made from scratch, I made the beat, I recorded it myself, I mixed it myself, mastered it myself, distributed it myself, and the whole promotion, everything that I'm about to do, I'm about to do myself. You know, in the next couple months, you're going to see of me on a flyer everywhere.
That's
great.
Hey, did your girlfriend ever get to play your music at the DJ?
She does sometimes actually, and it's kind of
That's awesome.
it's kind of like
Remember, that's what you wanted from the beginning.
right. And she also plays my homie's music on the north side. His name's
Yeah.
Ma MB.
Okay.
And he's kind of a really popular artist coming up right now. So shout out my MB. He's Nook's younger brother.
Oh, okay.
So Nook actually produces the beats for his younger brother, and then his younger brother raps on it. And he's got some really, really good music, man, because he just sounds like himself, you know?
Yeah.
All these, like I said, all these other rappers been sounding like somebody else, but he sounds so unique. So
That's awesome. I appreciate you, White Noise.
appreciate you, brother.
Thank
God bless
so
you,
much.
man.
God bless you too. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you comment, like, share, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. Have faith, show love, give hope, let go, and let God. Thank you guys.
No silver spoon, no cheat code, just hustle. Learn from the block how to turn pain to muscle. Now I'm helping DJ May build a name. Watching her spin while we changing the game. FLOC gave me purpose, showed me the fight. Now I'm teaching the young ones to do life right. Still that same kid from the north side grit. Now I mix, master, publish, I own my shit. If I fall, I rebuild, I've been here before. White noise, turn it up, let the silence roar. White noise, drowning out the lies and the fear. Every scar on my skin is the reason I'm here. Independent, no label, just heart in my gear. Built my sound from the struggle, made the message clear. White noise, drowning out the lies and the fear. Every scar on my skin is the reason I'm here. Independent, no label, just heart in my gear. Built my sound from the struggle, made the message clear. Toledo City, I'm the echo in your soul. White noise, turn the pain into gold. White noise, turn the pain into gold.